everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist,
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, Dan, it was just Thanksgiving, and people went online, Mormons specifically, and made a hashtag trend in a really annoying way.
Oh my God, it was the worst. If you have Mormon friends, you know what we're talking about. But we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna take the Mormons to task for their hashtagging.
For being
rampant hashtagging
at the behest of a prophet.
Yeah, that's right. Prophetic hashtagging.
Well, anyway, Dan.
Yeah,
I've got, and it's it's become an annual tradition, I think. And if it hasn't been every single year, it just absolutely needs to here on the show. The Liberty Council, which is a group of lawyers, a hate group of lawyers,
conservative Christian nonsense group.
Yeah, they sort of try to be like the conservative ACLU, right? They take on these issues, and there
you go.
Right. Anyway, every year, to mark the beginning of the holiday season and to push the whole idea that there is a war on Christmas, which of course there's not.
Well, they're having a war.
Yeah.
The rest of us aren't showing up, but they're having a war.
Theirs is a war for Christmas, under the banner of there being a war on Christmas. And really what their big beef is that retailers in this country had started a trend toward very nice, more inclusive phrasing of happy holidays, right? Or, mentioning their, holiday sales and this and that. Because, and this is true about this time of year, there are multiple holidays.
What? How dare you? There is only one that counts.
And that is their definite official stance. There is only one holiday to be celebrating this year, everybody. There is one reason for the season, and it is Christmas. And so there's that. So they release every year.
Fuck your Kwanzaa, and you can go screw yourself on Hanukkah, and you know what? Screw Thanksgiving too. All of it. Fuck it all.
They like Thanksgiving, but no, they released their annual naughty and nice list of retailers.
Right.
And I just want to read a couple of the nice ones so you get a sense of what they're looking for, right?
what they want.
And then we'll move on to the naughty ones, which of course are our recommendations for places to actually support this year.
It's very nice of them to make a list that we don't have to. Just go support these retailers.
Yeah.
They're doing it right. So the ones that they like are who?
Yeah, well, they love American Eagle Outfitters. It says, while there are not many Christmas-themed items on the American Eagle website, the term Christmas is used often in their product titles and descriptions, so they're happy about it. They like Bath and Body Works, Beal's Department Store. They like Best Buy. They said that this is what gets Best Buy on the list. Even though they don't carry traditional Christmas decorations, they do have quite a selection of Christmas movies, and they also sell Christmas sheet music. I didn't even know Best Buy sold sheet music.
They sell sheet music?
I didn't even know people. It was this Tin Pan Alley,
right?
Selling sheet music
and movies. Who gets movies at a store anymore?
Apparently Christians.
Movies come from streaming boxes, and Best Buy sells those. Is that what they're talking about?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
There's a website called christmasplace.com. I guess there was some question about whether this website was going to make the list or not, because there are quite a few items labeled as holiday. You know, they felt the need to point this out to christmasplace.com.
Wow.
But there are many more prominent products that are labeled as Christmas. There are also plenty of items that have Merry Christmas on them, as well as a large selection of nativity scenes. It's christmasplace.com.
That is fucking amazing. Like they were ready to take it off the list. They were considering it. They looked into it, and then they were like, oh, "Okay, actually, I'm going to give it to them."
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the kind of stuff they're looking for. They just want to see the word Christmas. They want to see as many like religious stuff like nativity scenes. They just a Santa Claus is not going to get you onto the list, right? It's not just that it is something that's closely related to or associated with the holiday.
Right.
Anyway, now onto some of the naughties. Burlington Coat Factory.
Oh no.
And they made the naughty list because they've been featuring hot holiday deals and gift cards emphasizing happy holidays. In addition to that, they also lack any emphasis on gift giving for the season, and a severe lack of Christmas advertising with biblical meaning.
Burlington, where are you, man?
Burlington.
Show up.
Dick's Sporting Goods.
Oh, man.
While they do use a generic Christmas color design sort of concept with like red and green, there's no reference to the reason for the season. There's no reference to Christmas and only a handful of holiday references.
I'm so mad.
And so, no. Gap Inc. fails. They're totally naughty. Rite Aid. Apparently, they use phrases like holiday shop and that they're a destination for your holiday needs.
Oh.
And that shop Rite Aid. Oh, they say to shop Rite Aid for the best holiday offers. This is terrible. Target.
Oh my God.
Target. They have surprisingly few mentions of Christmas. They actually mention Christmas. They actually say it, right? But not good enough. They say things like pack your season full of Merry, and they offer seasonal ugly sweaters. That's offensive to them, apparently. I don't know why.
Oh my God.
And now for the cream of the crop, the one that they absolutely fucking hate, Lord and Taylor.
Oh.
Now, apparently, they have incorporated Christmas language into their products and marketing. However, the company falls short of portraying what the Christmas season is about. Their reindeers and printed Santas hide the love of the nativity and reason for gift giving.
It is so hard to be a Christian. It is so hard.
My God, all of these stores are offering them deals and festive decorations, right?
Yeah.
Because of their
Ship with
stupid
Santa
holiday
on it.
Christmas is the supreme holiday of the season, right? Like it is the one that like all others fail to compare to.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Because Christmas is it's just so chock full of it's so rich, right? It has everything that you could possibly want. It has so many cartoons and different themes and stories and this and that. Like it's just epic as far as holidays go.
I mean, this whole thing is just privilege watch, right? Like the entire thing is like, our privilege is slipping over there. We're gonna have to get that back. Oh, you bring that privilege right back here. We need to exclude other people. We are not excluding any of the right people at this point.
Exactly. And that is exactly it. Like the reason for the season apparently is there's exclusion of others.
Well, I'm gonna keep on that theme.
Oh, good.
Because a new poll has come out from the Public Religion Research Institute. This is a survey, and they carved out a really interesting category for themselves. demographic category. And that category, they're terming it Fox News Republicans.
Oh.
So they're saying that these are Republicans who take as their primary mode of getting news Fox News.
Oh boy.
Now, amazingly, Fox News in recent times has become sort of like the not farthest right place that people are going now.
Know.
So that's kind of crazy.
It's obscene is what it is.
But it's plenty all the way to the right. And apparently 40% of Republicans in this survey, they would label Fox News Republicans.
Okay.
So, of the Fox News Republicans, so there were lots of questions that they asked, but one of the questions was, which populations in these United States face discrimination?
Oh, no.
I mean, you can guess where it's going, but the numbers are insane.
No. Am I going to hurt after this?
Oh, my God. It's like a kick from a mule. You ready for this? 73% said that Christians are the top most discriminated against category in the United States of America.
God. Okay, already ridiculous, but what are the other categories? Just so that we know who they beat out.
Obviously, it's white people. At almost 60% of them saying white people and Christians are the top most discriminated against people in the United States of America. It's astounding.
That's so stupid.
Black people came in at 36%, Hispanic at 34%, and Asian people at 27%.
Oh, no. No.
Oh, my God. Interestingly, Republicans who don't view Fox as their main source of news, they flipped the script quite dramatically. They still think that Christians are very put upon, but only at 54%. So
wow.
A little over half of them still think that Christians are the ones who get the discrimination, which is amazing. And about the same as white people. They still think white people are the ones who are most discriminated against.
But it's the idea that the loss of privilege feels like discrimination. Mm-hmm. Like, and so because that is what they're experiencing right now, is other groups, demanding their rights. It's fucked up. It's ridiculous. But I don't know. Good.
It's so
I'm glad
crazy,
they feel
though.
so put upon. It must just really suck to for once
so
feel
hard
so
to be
put
them.
upon.
They're the ones who should be rioting. I mean, when you really think about it.
Just you wait.
Oh my God! Don't. I can't handle it right now.
Just you wait.
You may be right, but that's not the Christmas present that I want. Oh my God! These people, like the thought, these people all think that a Christian white person in this country suffers more prejudice than a black person in this country.
It's truly unbelievable. And it says so much that there is such a difference between even just these two groups of Republicans, right? And sort of their perception, because it tells you so much about the messaging that they are hearing from Fox News. That this is a drum that they are beating so fucking hard over there to keep.
White Republicans just bailed a murderer out of jail.
Yeah.
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's any chance that had he been black that they would have raised the money? Like Charles in Charge would not be raising money God. even if he was like anti Black Lives Matter. A black guy would not be out of jail right now.
I know. It's something else.
It's insane.
It is
it's insane. Our country is upside down and backwards.
Yeah. Well, do you want me to make you feel better?
I would love that.
Okay, well, then I wish I could.
Oh, God damn you.
Because
You're a bad person.
I'm actually going to address what I'm sure everybody heard about this week, which was the Supreme Court's decision about New York State's religious gathering limitations that they had, right? They sort of capped the number of people. So like because New York is using like this red zone, orange zone, this colored heat map, right? To basically say which areas are sort of most at risk for community spread of COVID-19.
Right.
And in and graciously, right, New York State, in the hottest zones, in the red zones, they were still allowing churches and synagogues and ostensibly mosques and religious groups to meet as long as there were no more than 10 people in attendance, right? And this, however, was just not enough, in particular for the Catholics and some Jewish communities that an Orthodox Jewish group that actually ended up suing. And the case went to the Supreme Court, where, surprise, surprise, the new conservative religious majority on the court has sided with the churches. And this is after, prior recent Supreme Court decisions that actually sided with like the state of California. Right. Instead of with the religious groups that were in opposition to these limits. But they
got themselves a Coney Barrett now.
Now they have that majority on the court, and this is what we get now. This is a great example of the kind of stuff that's going to be coming, and I think unfortunately for me, kind of like my little tiny secret hope was that even though these are really conservative people, that they are maybe because they're educated, and that they've maybe hopefully they have curious minds.
You were thinking maybe we could still have nice things.
Maybe there would be an occasional decision that sort of surprised us, right? And maybe there will be. I don't know, but I want to read a little bit of some of the opinions that came out as part of this, specifically from Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. Okay, and then we'll get to the minorities' response. Okay. So, as you guys may or may not know, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh are both part of the conservative side, and so they were in the majority on this.
These are the guys that Trump,
and these are Trump appointees. Yeah,
appointed before Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah, exactly. And so Gorsuch says that so at least according to the governor, it may be unsafe to go to church, but it is always fine to pick up another bottle of wine, shop for a new bike, or spend the afternoon exploring your distal points and meridians. Oh, because sort of they picked up on the fact that acupuncture facilities are allowed to operate.
Which they probably shouldn't be either.
They probably shouldn't be. Yeah.
They're nonsense.
But they're probably deemed medical. They probably somehow got themselves lumped into medical. Who knew public health would so perfectly align with secular convenience? The only explanation for treating religious places differently seems to be a judgment that what happens there just isn't as essential as what happens in secular spaces. Indeed, the governor is remarkably frank about this. In his judgment, laundry and liquor, travel and tools are all essential, while traditional religious exercises are not. That is exactly the kind of discrimination the First Amendment forbids. So that's some of the really good, solid thinking and deep analysis of what these rules are all about that Gorsuch decided to weigh in with. And then Brett Kavanaugh says the state argues that it is not impermissibly discriminated against, that it has not impermissibly discriminated against religion because some secular businesses, such as movie theaters, must remain closed and are thus treated less favorably than houses of worship. But under this court's precedents, it does not suffice for a state to point out that, as compared to houses of worship, some secular businesses are subject to similarly severe or even more severe restrictions.
Why not? That should be a perfect comparison.
It should be.
A big gathering of lots and lots of people in an enclosed space. That's your comparison point. That's exactly what you need to be comparing it to.
Guess what? Sotomayor and Kagan, liberals on the court, what they had to say in their response. Let's see. They say, but Justice Gorsuch does not even try to square his examples with the conditions medical experts tell us facilitate the spread of COVID-19. Large groups of people gathering, speaking, and singing in close proximity indoors for extended periods of time. Unlike religious services, which have every one of those risk factors, bike repair shops and liquor stores generally do not feature customers gathering inside to sing and speak together for an hour or more at a time.
Yeah. It's not even... There's an interesting point. Gorsuch and what's his name forgot to even mention the virus.
Yeah.
Like, all they care about is sort of that the special privilege of going to church is infringed upon.
Right. Versus
there's
the special
a reason
privilege
why that's happening.
Yes.
And you're not even talking about it.
Exactly. Which is how the disease spreads, how this virus spreads. He says, they say, epidemiologists and physicians generally agree that religious services are among the riskiest activities. Justices of this court play a deadly game in second-guessing the expert judgment of health officials about the environments in which a contagious virus, now infecting 1 million Americans each week, spreads most easily. Yeah. Good. Thank you, Kagan and Sotomayor. Sadly, they were in the minority. 5-4, Justice Roberts, who used to be a conservative on the court, then was its ideological center, is now actually left of center.
I guess.
On that court.
I don't know.
He's been
logic. He's left of center.
I'm saying of where the center of that court's ideological center is.
Right.
It is not Roberts anymore. And I was uncomfortable when it was Roberts because,
because that's still
he is the swing vote was like, well, that's a weird thing. And now not
but hashtag pack the court. All right.
No kidding.
That's depressing, and I am going to get even more depressing as we talk about a little more jurisprudence here in these United States, because the what circuit court is it? One of the 11th Circuit Court, based in Atlanta, has found that bans on conversion therapy, gay conversion therapy for young people, that's not constitutional according to them.
Oh God.
They have ruled that it is, and the basis of this ruling is so baffling to me that I like want to bang my head against things. They're basically saying that therapists have a First Amendment free speech right to say whatever they need to say in therapy. So they're talking about talk therapy and saying that because these therapists want to talk to these kids about trying to make them not gay anymore, they have, it would be an infringement on their free speech rights to tell them that they can't that they can't do that.
So
anymore.
I mean, with that reasoning, it seems like therapists are completely unleashed of any ethical bounds whatsoever.
It seems that way
because they can say whatever the fuck they want at this point.
Because look, the vast majority of the therapeutic community recognizes especially for minors, that what so-called conversion therapy is basically torture.
It is.
You are basically torturing children.
Yep.
But it's okay, according to the courts, because of their free speech.
Oh, golly gee. That's
not
really sick.
Not awesome. Liberty Council's involved, of course.
They are. Yeah.
And yeah, this is their founder, Matt Staver, had this to say, quote, "This is a huge victory for counselors and their clients to choose the counsel of their choice, free of political censorship from government ideologues." Yeah.
God, that's going to go to the Supreme Court, and that's not going to be good. That's not going to be good at all.
This is literally the torture of children. And that's apparently okay now.
And that's what it needs to continue to be. God, I hate to skip so quickly to, okay, well, this is how we have to handle this. But I think we have got to get the messaging really solid about this. And we got to get it out there far and wide to try to minimize this, to shame this practice as much as possible. And the majority of this country agrees with us.
They get it.
They get it. This is a minority in this country that is fighting for their right to be able to abuse children.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
The two shitbag therapists that brought this suit cited that the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, which is sort of the Bible of psychotherapy in the United States, used to categorize homosexuality as a disorder. So,
and now it doesn't.
Look at the past, man, and then you can see why we want to do this.
Oh my God,
it's just. It's insane. It's insane.
All right.
So there you go.
Well, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm going to cheer you up.
Oh, you said that before.
No, this time.
You have lied to me before. I've been burned on this podcast by you, Frank.
No, Dan, believe me. Well, let's just see. Let's see how you take this one.
Okay.
It's a silly story.
Well, okay.
But all these things from a certain perspective are silly.
Yeah.
I don't know if it feels so silly to a couple executives at Netflix who are potentially going to be facing charges in India over a show that is running on Netflix currently called A Suitable Boy. It's set in post-partition India. And it's the story of a young girl's quest to find love with her family's approval. And apparently there's a really important scene in the show. What's important here is the young girl is Hindu, right?
Sure, like you do.
And she's in college. And the scene shows her kissing a Muslim boy with a temple, I guess, in the background.
That is a big hin don't.
That's so stupid. Apparently, this has left some leaders in India, specifically those belonging to the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is currently the ruling party. It's the BJP.
Oh, this is the Hindu
Nationalist Party. And I didn't know that's what it was called. The BJP, everyone. Much easier than for us English, American English speakers than the real name of
what
it.
It's actually called.
Yeah, unfortunately. But anyway, they believe that it hurts religious sentiments, which is against the law in India.
Yeah.
They don't allow you to hurt religious sentiments.
Yeah. Somebody might think that that's not okay, and also in any country that has any law about hurting religious sentiments, it really only applies to whatever the majority religion is, including the United States of America doesn't have a specific law that's about that. But as we've been talking about, boy howdy, when you run afoul of Christianity, they're going to rule against you.
Yeah. Well, as I said before, a police complaint has been filed. I don't know if that means that charges are forthcoming or whatnot, but the complaint has been filed, and they are demanding that the show's makers apologize and remove the objectionable scenes that promote, get this, Dan, love jihad.
Oh my God! That's amazing. That's the most amazing phrase I've ever heard in my life.
It's a right-wing Islamophobic theory in India that Muslim men lure Hindu women into marriage for the sole purpose of converting them to Islam.
Oh,
so
wow! That is a long way to go.
Yeah,
for a conversion.
Yeah.
I wonder if the Mormons are going to catch on to that one.
It's their only hope. If convicted, the Netflix executives could get up to 3 years of jail time and a heavy fine.
Wow.
And apparently, so not cool.
Well, I want to know who our listeners are in India and if they get to sue for like these ding-dongs offending their religious sensibilities.
Right?
Because
like where does that end, right? Like it seems like anything. I mean I don't know. Obviously there's a complicated history there. You're correct in saying that it obviously also favors the religious majority.
Right.
But there's also a really complicated and history amongst the religious groups, and I'm sure that this law came out of an intention, with an intention to kind of, calm the rhetoric, right?
Right.
But at a certain point, you also just have to be like, well, what about basic, like, free speech and like just. This is a story. There's nothing offensive in this story. If you normally allow a couple to kiss, you can't really get picky and choosy about who the couple is.
Watch them. They can get as picky and choosy as they damn well want to. They're in the majority.
Oh, golly.
Anyway, listen, I am going to tell an actually good story right now. That's how we're going to close this out.
For realsies?
For realsies. I mean, it starts with a bad story, and that is you'll be shocked to learn that within the Catholic Church there seems to have been rampant child molestation by clergy. I'm sure you didn't know. I'm
never heard such a thing.
Breaking
that
news.
Is quite the allegation, Dan.
It is quite the allegation.
You better be able to back that up.
I mean, you and I at one point did say that, like, if you've got a diocese, you've got a problem. That is basically the foundational premise of the TGIA view on Catholicism. But there's something is actually being done about it. Attorney General and personal hero of mine, Letitia James of New York State, has sued the Diocese of Buffalo along with two of their former bishops, Bishops Richard Malone and Edward Grosz, for a whole bunch of allegations, including abuse by, priestly abuse that was either inadequately investigated or not investigated at all. This diocese, at one point, you'll recall, released a list of names of priests who had been credibly accused of sexual abuse. It was the list was 42 names long, which is a lot of priests.
That's unreal.
Not really, though. I mean, that is a lot of priests for a single diocese. However, there was another list before that had 106 names on it, and that was the 42 one was just the expurgated version, because they knocked a whole bunch of names off of it because they didn't want to make them, I don't know, they didn't want to get other priests in trouble. And even that list was incomplete because the complete list, which included deacons and nuns and lay employees, had 324 names on it.
Jesus Christ.
So, suffice it to say that Attorney General James, she's stepping in. She's got a big lawsuit now happening, and we'll see what happens with it.
I don't know. Seems like a stretch, Dan, for her. You know, like just doesn't seem like there's anything there.
Well, they've been compiling evidence for about 2 years now, and they're finally ready to dive in.
Yeah, absolutely horrifying.
Hopefully, there will be continual good news coming out of New York about just shutting them the fuck down.
I mean, that's what needs to happen, right?
It's all that you can do. Like, at this point,
it's what
the Catholic Church has, like,
at this point.
They have like two industries going. They've got the smoke, the incense and cracker industry on one side of things, and then the child rape industry on the other side of things. It's like, you guys, it's got to be shut down. Yeah. You got to figure this out.
Someone needs
it's insane. They're covering it up.
Yeah.
It's so, like, when you get when you get a credible accusation, all you got to do is not cover it up.
Yeah.
But that's not kind of their thing.
Somebody should really turn QAnon's attention onto the Catholic Church, right? Because their whole thing is about, child sex abuse.
They're big into cabals of child sexual abuse.
And somehow they've missed the real one.
The obvious, true one
that actually is, like, right over there. Like, guys, like, just pay attention. If you really care so much about this issue, like, just,
do you see the big stone building down the street from you?
Like, it's for real. Yeah. Oh my God!
It's definitely not. You're not going to find it at at the pizza place in D.C. It's not going to be at the Clinton's house that you're going to find this.
Right.
Just go down the street to that big stone building and with the pointy things at the top, and just snoop around for 15 minutes. You'll be fine. You'll figure it out. Well, if you have something that you would like to take us to task for or chime in about, please feel free to do so, kids. The email address is podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming right up. Hey, Dan.
Hey.
Guess what?
There's a lot of things that could come after that. Probably don't make it that open-ended, because something bad will happen.
Well, I've got some exciting news.
Okay. I like
we need
exciting
to announce
news,
a live stream event that we're going to be doing this next week.
That's right.
It's we've dubbed it the 2020 TGIA Christmas Apocalypse live stream special with Frank and Dan. It's going to be this Tuesday, which would be
that is the short version of the title, by the way.
Yeah, there's an or there as well. It's on December 1st, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So that's 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 6 p.m. on the Pacific Coast, and Central Time Zone. You're just gonna have to figure it out.
Nobody can do that kind of math. This is just we're just gonna say hi to the patrons. This is just a hangout sesh.
Yep.
So if you're not a patron now, you've got plenty of time. Just dive in. If you are a patron, we hope to see you. If you can't make it, no problem. This is a quick thing. We're just putting it out there. We want to give more to the patrons, and this is one way that we're just exploring doing that.
Patrons and monthly donors on PayPal. We've also figured that one out. So everybody's going to be receiving an email on how to join in. There'll also be instructions and more information, I guess, up on our website, which is thankgodimatheist.com. So you can check that out as well.
Yes.
And
now we need to talk about, you and I have been given shit to prophets who predicted the wrong person would be elected president of the United States of America.
Prophets were wrong? Never.
Yeah.
Never, Dan.
Well,
I don't remember. I don't remember taking that stance.
Well, here's the thing about prophets getting it wrong. Over the 9 years that we have done this little show of ours, we have heard a lot of prophecies that were incorrect.
The show started because of a prophecy.
And what we almost never get to hear is anyone acknowledging that fact. Because the proper way to handle a prophecy gone wrong is to pretend like it never happened and ignore it and never talk about it ever again. Shut up, la, 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 la. Nobody did anything, la, 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 la.
Right.
Well, we do have a clip. This is Sid Roth, who, if you'll recall a few weeks ago, a month or two ago, he was the guy that was hosting the giant "and now we will all speak in tongues" thing that just turned into a cacophony of and so he's a delight. And this is him being asked about the prophecies that he himself hosted multiple times on his show that were positive that Trump was going to win.
So what would you say, Sid, now that we're on the other side of the election, things didn't quite turn out the way many people anticipated. What does that mean for the prophets and the prophetic? Were those words fake, or what's your take on that?
Well, first of all, there's an old saying that I remember even before I was a believer. It's not over till the fat lady sings. I believe that President Trump won, W-O-N, and will win, even though it was taken away from him. That's my opinion. However, I also believe it'll probably go to the Supreme Court. So you have to understand how faith operates. I believe the word of God. I believe the prophets. Now, having said that, I'm going to take the other side of the coin. If they are all wrong, it doesn't destroy my faith in God. It destroys my faith in the accuracy of the prophets. But I still have faith in the prophets because my faith is in the word of God. I absolutely believe Trump is going to win. I haven't given up one iota. Admittedly, sometimes I can't watch the news, but I'm not being an ostrich. I'm saying I think that President Trump is a very intelligent man, has an extremely intelligent staff, and he would have just given up and said, I'll run in 4 more years or whatever, if he had lost. I do not believe he'd be spending all that money and all that energy and all that time if he didn't think there was a legitimate chance for him to win.
Oh, boy.
He's an intelligent man. Why would he be doing this if he wasn't?
He's an intelligent man. Everyone surrounding him. I don't know if you've checked out Trump's legal team, but with Rudy, Melty Rudy as the head, how can anything go wrong? It's
yeah. It's amazing, right? So this guy, God has told him, right, that Trump would win, and he's not giving up hope, right? He thinks that this is going to go to the Supreme Court, right? That there's still a way for Trump to win, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm sort of, we were talking about this before the show, sort of is there what tricks are still there, right? Like, is there something? But that window is closing for me, right? Like, and it's obviously closing for Trump and reality and everything as well. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when that finally happens, right? Like, will Sid Roth actually go, like, lose faith in his own prophecy, right? And therefore, wouldn't it follow in the God that told him that prophecy,
right?
That provided it?
Well,
like, is it like, can he ever trust those feelings ever again? Yeah, he will. Yeah, he totally will trust those feelings again.
I love the idea that I wouldn't lose faith in God. I would just lose faith in the prophets, even though the prophets are the word of God.
Right.
But I don't. But that's not. But then I lose faith in them. But then the God, and then he explodes. and then he has to like change the subject to the Supreme Court and how smart Trump is and all this stuff.
Wow.
Anyway, hey, we had some folks write into us. Let's start with Max in Mississippi, who says, I was thinking about the story you reported last week about a young woman who was forced to listen to a recording of her rape by the Jehovah's Witnesses. That was a delightful little story, wasn't it? Where is the line between religion and the law? To put it another way, where is the line between a religion's practices, rituals, and teachings and the civil and criminal law? In some cases, such as child molestation and rape, the line seems clear. In other cases, the state has forced parents to provide their children with life-saving medical treatment despite the parents' legal protestations and religious arguments. But what about practices like exorcisms performed on children, or terrorizing children with stories about the apocalypse and hell, or shaming a woman into concealing her rape? I know that Christopher Hitchens likened religious indoctrination to child abuse. But what have the courts held in cases like the one you discussed last week? Well, I think we got a little taste of that with this week's story about the torture of gay kids.
They're cool with it as long as it's religious.
As long as it's religious, it's hard for the courts to care what you're doing. Then here's the thing. I get why no judge wants to be the judge that rules on the side against Christianity or against religion. Like, why you don't want to be seen as that judge. But it's just unconscionable how much leeway is given to religion, especially in this country, but in lots of countries.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
See.
Anyway, do you remember last week, Frank? I did a story about a bridge in Edmonton, Alberta, and how that bridge was to be lit up, and they wanted it to be lit up for some sort of anti-abortion thing, but they refused to do it. Anyway, we had Roberta write into us from Edmonton. Hi, Dan and Frank. Imagine my surprise to hear my cold northern hometown mentioned on your show. And then your segment about coping with COVID and your talk of outdoor exercise. Well, here is a photo I took, and obviously Roberta sent a lovely photo of the bridge. This is a photo I took last week of the actual high-level bridge lit in purple. I took this while on a winter bike ride on a lovely -7 degrees Celsius night. 7 degrees, -7 degrees Celsius.
Roberta.
That's in the 20s
That's chilly.
Real. Yeah, it's very cold. I have been winter cycling for 20 plus years, and it is critical to my physical and mental well-being since our winters are long and cold. And yes, they are. I've been in Alberta winters before. And the days are very short. I do longer rides, including errands like to the library on weekend days when it's often sunny but cold, and nighttime rides during the week. I stud my own tires and have a dedicated beater winter bike. Best winter exercise ever, but the hardest part psychologically is getting out the door. Once I'm on the bike, it's great.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Wow. Good for you.
You are
brave.
A braver person than I, Roberta. Yeah. That is not something I'm not looking forward to that.
I mean, because it's one thing just to be out in the cold, right? But when you're moving swiftly through the cold, right? Like it just the breeze on the level to which she must be bundled up. It must be incredible. There must be no exposed skin anywhere, and I don't know how you would do that.
Listen, an Alberta winter, it can get 40 degrees below zero. I'm guessing you're not out there
for that
biking
stuff.
at 40 below, but like, that wind, that prairie wind blows, and it cuts right through every parka you can put on. Anyway, you're a stalwart person, Roberta. We do have some folks to thank. Sylvie has given us a one-time donation over there to PayPal. Thank you so much, Sylvie.
Well, thank you.
That's lovely. And one other person, I think.
We do, yeah. We have our top donor, Dan, our Lord and Savior, Bevis. And with what these folks have done, and what you can do too, if you like what you hear on the show, you can help make it happen by going to thankgodimatheist.com and clicking on the support tab. And then there's a couple different ways you can support us. And you know what? If financial support isn't in your means at the moment, but you still want to help us out, you can also go to whatever listening platform you find us on. And write us a review. Leave us some nice comments. That's also an incredible way to help us out. It helps us show up a little bit higher in like search, on those same platforms. And so, any way you can help us is greatly appreciated. Thanks, guys. Dan.
Hello. Yes. Hi. Are we still doing this?
Yes. I'm still here.
Okay.
Are you as big a fan of hashtags as I am?
No, obviously not. Definitely not.
Dan, I'm just always like hashtagging things, like
you have never hashtagged in your whole life.
Well, not effectively, I can tell you that.
No, that's true.
But nonetheless, this week, a 96-year-old man, a few weeks ago, a 96-year-old man. No less an expert on social media than nonagenarian Russell M. Nelson of the Mormon Church. He suggested to his followers through, it was well-executed social media, right? He announced it in a video that was on a blog that was shared on Twitter and Facebook and wherever else people go. I wonder, do you think the LDS Church has a TikTok? Do you think they're TikToking yet?
I can't imagine that they do.
I almost can't imagine that they don't, to be honest.
Oh, they probably do. Oh, I hope. Oh, God. Now I'm going to have to look that up later and just see what they might post.
Anyway, so he gets on, and it had been hyped for a while, right, Dan? Like the church was sort of teasing that there was going to be something coming out from the prophet, right?
Yeah, a big deal video that's going to be an address to the members, and this is an unusual thing. We should be clear that the prophet doesn't do YouTube videos. Right. That's not his bag.
And so I guess, did you see this stuff or hear about it? Like corners of the Mormon social media sphere, where members were speculating hard about what was going to happen.
Interesting. I didn't actually see any of that, but
sister,
of course they'd get into it.
Sort of pointed me in the right direction on this one. And apparently, people thought it was going to be the call to Zion. They thought that
oh my God,
this was the second coming was happening, and that the Mormons were going to be moving back to Missouri. This is part of their whole thing.
Jesus gave them Jesus gave them several weeks heads up so that they could hype it.
Exactly. Because that's how Jesus would work these days, right? Well, nonetheless, it wasn't that. Sadly,
no.
As somebody who lives in Utah, sadly, they're not all leaving.
Right.
But
I could say this. I even was speculating a little bit. I wondered if it was just. I was hoping, because we live in Utah and Utah is terrifying right now
for COVID,
that it would be a call to people to do the right thing and mask up when they go out and not have big family get-togethers and all the things to prevent coronavirus from killing more people. He's a doctor.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He knows what, how bad viruses can be. He was a cardiothoracic surgeon back in his 100 years ago.
He was involved in some of the first heart transplants, right?
Yeah, so you would think that maybe he could get it right about corona. That's not what this was. This was about something to heal you even better than not catching a virus.
Yeah, so he announces a hashtag. All of this is to announce a hashtag. Hashtag givethanks. With instructions for the faithful to literally, the words were flood social media with posts about what they're thankful for. In the lead up,
he literally instructed 14 million Mormons in the world, or however many are actually Mormon in the world.
In a global religion that they're pushing hard that they're global. He pushes an American holiday.
He basically says he wanted everybody to make their social media their gratitude journal. That's what he said. And what he managed to do, rather than, employing the considerable resources of his church, of his organization, to help anyone in any appreciable real way, what he managed to do was turn everybody's Mormon friend into an insufferable Pollyanna asshole for 1 week on social media.
Oh no! What kind of stuff did you see, Dan?
Oh my God! It's like, you know what? If you were going to be if it was going to be this heartfelt, deeply considered thing, that's one thing. But 900% of them were, I'm so grateful for my spouse. I just love them so much. And it's okay, yeah, but that's not, this is not where the healing power of gratitude is. Also, fuck you for making people who are suffering right now have to, you know what? We're not all going to be grateful in a moment where the world is upside down and everybody's pretty upset. Right. You know what I mean? Don't make me, if I need to focus on gratitude, that's great. And it's a good, sometimes gratitude can be very, very helpful. But also sometimes you need to be mad, or you need to be sad, or you need to be hurt.
No, the Lord told him that he needed to do this. This was all part, that's also a big part of this, is that this is one of his wake up in the middle of the night things, right? Where the Lord, this is his thing. The Lord speaks to him in the middle of the night, and he wakes up and he writes it down, right? And this was one of those. He woke up with this idea, and this is the execution of it, right?
Yeah, he managed to get some digs in about Black Lives Matter. He did say that racism was bad, but then he also was all this violence is bad and blah blah blah. So that was cute.
And then that ongoing violence that with the protests that just keep happening.
It's just so. And do you remember back in March when the Mormon Church called for a giant fast to end the pandemic?
Yeah, how did that go?
And
did it work?
Yeah. It seems to have worked. They don't seem to acknowledge that there's any problem anymore. Although he did sort of make a blushing comment about masking. He just said the pandemic is there and there was an image on the video of someone putting on a mask. So
okay.
That was great.
Okay.
But then but the thing that kills me is that back in March when they had this fast, they were like, look, we're leading the world. Even the Catholics are joining in our fast. And it's like, because it's Lent, motherfuckers. You invented fasting during Lent. And now, amazingly, they're inventing thankfulness right at the end of November. They're innovators. These guys are it's amazing how smart they are. Next, they'll be inventing, a fun big holiday at the end of December, too.
Well, let's see. Let's see what he wakes up with in a couple weeks.
Oh, my God.
It's truly amazing.
Yeah.
They're so funny.
So,
but,
yeah.
I love that it just destroyed everybody's feed.
So many people were so mad about it. People that yes, a bunch of like the angry atheists that I know were like, fuck this, the angry ex-Mormons or whatever. But also just like people who I've never seen take a side on anything religious or anything, just going, oh my God, can they please shut up about this hashtag give thanks? Just because it was so banal all the time, and half the time it was just turned into a reason to brag.
Right.
I'm so thankful that I have all of these creature comforts and that I'm able to travel when I am able to, and the blah,
and
blah,
the plastic
blah.
surgery. I have such a good plastic
And I have perfect family, and my family's so perfect, and everything's great. And there's never any trials or tribulations, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just, the one thing that was beautiful was how easy a hashtag like that is to totally hijack. Because probably there was as many posts that were like, so thankful to be out of that goddamn church. So thankful to not have to think about myself as a bad person for being gay. Hashtag give thanks.
Wow.
Like all of it. I saw lots of those kinds of posts too. Because fuck that church.
Yeah. I wish there'd been more
It's a big
of
cult.
That.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely happened. I stayed away from that. I was just like, oh, come on. Until, I did use the hashtag recently when I was like, wait a minute. It's over. The week is over. Hashtag give thanks. We're going to get our feeds back. So there you go. All right. Listen, if you guys need to hashtag give thanks for anything, you can write into us. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com is the address to do that.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah! Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click the like button.
Also on Facebook, we have the Members Only Lounge, and the best way to find it is to go to thankgodimatheist.com/members only, and it will take you to where you need to go.
It'll redirect you because apparently Facebook's search doesn't take you there. So
don't do the
explain
search.
that to me, Facebook.
Just go to our website for help
won't.
on that one.
Oh, thanks so much to Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
And a big thanks goes out to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music. And Dan, we kind of skipped it.
Yeah.
People should follow us on Twitter at TGIAtheist. It is happening over at Twitter, so get yourself on over there. And just a reminder, if you like what you hear on the show, please visit our website, thankgodimatheist.com, and clicking on the support tab.
Yeah, and check out Frank's new TikTok as well.
There is no TikTok,
that's not,
everybody.
That's not true.
And then, of course, another, just remember, if you want to participate in the live stream, you can become a patron. There's still time. Or if you are already a patron, be looking for that email from us.
Woohoo! Thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.